I'm currently in Beijing, China. I am here with my little sister and we are taking the Trans-Mongolian Railway from Beijing to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, and then we're taking the Trans-Siberian from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia to Irkutsk, Russia, and then from Irkutsk, Russia, all the way across to Moscow, to then St. Petersburg, and then from St. Petersburg, Russia, across to Finland in Helsinki. And we've been doing all of the main touristy stuff, going and seeing the Great Wall, the Forbidden City and the Summer Palace and many things like that. And a lot of the time, because we're not locals, we don't take taxis, we don't have a car, we walk everywhere, or we take the subway. And the subway in Beijing is very orderly, very clean, very efficient. And we've been catching quite a few of these subways to and from our destinations that we're going to. And most of the time we have to stand up because there's too many people sitting down or just taking the subway in general. And most of the things are in Mandarin. Can't read it obviously, but just having a look around, keep my eyes open just to see what's out there, as you do when you are a tourist in a foreign country. And one of the things that stood out to me, especially being a marketing and sales professional, was the advertising that was done in the subways. And what I mean by that is we're catching a subway, obviously underground, and in the subway tunnels, not in the train itself, are some advertising on the walls of the subway tunnels. Now that's interesting because a lot of the subway, when you get on the train, is obviously, like we are all used to, advertisements on many of the edges of the train, almost like mini billboards on the top of the roof and on the sides of the train. So a lot of that stuff has been taken. So what I did see was a very innovative way of creating advertising, both in terms of its placement, but also in terms of the technology. So looking out the window of these trains, you're looking into a dark tunnel and the walls are dark. You can't see anything on them. Now, you're having this many people in Beijing, my understanding is about 22 million people that live there. And you've got this volume of people, mass transportation, traveling all of these people to and from their locations. And there's dead space, or there's unutilized real estate, advertising real estate that sits on these tunnel walls. However, the problem with that is that they are dark and you can't illuminate them very easily. And if you could illuminate them with a light, these trains are going, something like, I imagine, calculated about 80 kilometers an hour. You're looking out the window to get an ad and to have a look at that at about a meter distance from the train window to the wall is going to be almost virtually impossible. So what someone has identified is that there's this issue that there is a prime real estate on these walls, but also the problem I just identified, where it's really difficult for you to look and read an advertisement that swing past your eyes in a very small window, literally a small physical window of a train, for you to be able to read it. So what they've done is said, look, there is this unutilized wall of a subway, and we're going to create an innovation that allows people to view something that's on that. And in that case, we're going to monetize that by creating advertisement space and then selling that advertisement space. So basically what happens is when you're whizzing past at 80 kilometers an hour in one of these subway trains between stations, is you look out the window and you've got literally a 1 by 1 meter window that you're looking out of, and there is a screen. And this is what I imagine it to be, as I haven't researched it, is just like a flat screen TV on the wall, but they are butt end to each other in what I imagine would be about a 200 meter sequence. So you've got perhaps 150 flat screen large televisions back to back running across the side of this subway train. Now again, you're probably wondering, how can you whizzing past at 80 kilometers an hour have a look at this train, out this train window and view something? And this is where the innovation has come in. What they are doing, as I imagine, is they are showing an advertisement on these 150 screens all simultaneously. However, the movement of the image is running at the same direction and the same pace. So in other words, if the train is going north-south, the image or the advertisement on the television is also running north-south, and if the train is going 80 kilometers an hour, the advertisement or the image, video image on that television is also going at 80 kilometers an hour. So as you're whizzing past this 200-meter wall of televisions, each one of those individual televisions are also racing in the same direction, a video image of an advertisement in the same direction as you. It's almost like a flip book, but instead of going through from depth front to back with a flip book, it's almost going the same direction as you in the train, which means when you look out the window, you are looking at an advertisement that sticks with the train at the perfect exact pace. So it's basically, for all intents and purposes, another advertisement that is sitting in the window of the train. So all of the other advertisement spaces that are around the train on the roof and at head and eye height for you to view, the windows also now have this advertisement on it. So instead of sticking the advertisement to the window, which for obvious reasons when you get to a station makes it difficult for many different reasons to look out to see if you've got the right train station, to see how busy it is, and so on and so forth, you're actually just only looking out the window at an advertisement at times that are dead. You can't see anything anyway because it is dark. So what I really like about this is that it's using prime real estate, as I said at the very start, but also the thing I really love about it is the technology that you've used, something that's really low tech applied to this very, very specific problem to utilize it for a missed opportunity that can be monetized. Very, very simple solution for a problem that not many people have been able to fix or solve. So how could you possibly use this in what you are doing? I think the main takeaways I'd like you to take from this is look to where there are opportunities where others don't actually see it. Most people will just look at this and say this is idle space, cannot be done with that. Maybe many have tried to put or lobby to have advertisements on the window and failed with that. Obviously it's prime real estate that is unutilized, so how can you, in your whatever you are doing and trying to do with your marketing and sales, how can you utilize existing technology in this new and unique way to bridge the gap between that problem and the solution? So in summary, I think this is a really, really useful thing that has been done in advertising, and I really like the technology and the use of it in solving a problem that has never or has not been solved in this way very often before. Thanks for listening, and if you like what was on here and want more, please go to orenprunken.com.